Everyone needs a job, and everyone has the ability to think about stuff and say, how can I make this better? I think what's important for everyone to know is that you really need to be a critical thinker about what you're doing, how you're positioning yourself, the work that you're doing. When I look for resumes, as most people do, I look at structure of resumes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. How is it structured? Does it look like someone professional? You know, emotional intelligence is just, in essence, it's being cognizant of other people's feelings and how you're coming across and what may be sensitive to them.
Hi all, good morning. So today I have Alan with us who looks like a boss who has spoken at various different platforms before, and he is the CTO at a company that is fastly growing. He is focused on operations and revenue, which is focused on specifically in making companies grow fast at a faster pace, which is something that's so important because if companies do not keep up with their competition, they're more likely to fail. So let's welcome Alan on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where he will tell us about what he's learned along the way, what it takes to be a boss in the 21st century, and how he can make himself stand out amongst thousands of other competitors. Hi, Alan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Alan. So, Alan, would love to learn about your journey, where you currently work, and where your position is within the company.
Um, my journey has been an eclectic one. I first started um, really when I graduated school, focusing on customer success, and that meant not only sales, marketing, but customer success as well. Those were for startup companies, high tech companies, really on the edge of the internet at the time. That meant that I needed to understand the actual technology behind what we were promoting, selling, marketing, etc. But I've learned over my years of experience that being customer centric is probably one of the most important things that you should do. Even understanding different technologies, engineering, such as Java, JavaScript, Node.js, React, React Native, whatever it could be Python, NoSQL, etc. Um, it takes really a critical mind to break down not only what you're trying to solve for, because as engineers, people are trying to solve for problems, but it takes a critical mind to understand what the customer needs. From the small startups I worked at a company called Mitel. Mitel is a cloud communications company that competes with Avaya, but I believe Avaya is closed now. Cisco systems, etc. So I worked on both the infrastructure and the software uh, engineering part. I do have my master's from Columbia in technology management, and after that, I was a CTO at a company called Covet Time, which was a logistics company, and really trying to help it ramp and get up to speed. But currently, one of the things that I do is work for Williams Joseph. Williams Joseph is my own company that specializes in operations and technology. We actually consult small to medium sized enterprises on from an operational standpoint, compliance, engineering, in the form of software engineering, growing and scaling out your environment, app development, website development, um, and the like. I mean, software engineering spans such a um, uh, sort of haberdashery of different principles and subjects. So that's what I'm currently doing.
Okay, so you've really moved up the ladder, worked with various companies, was the CTO, founded your own company. So just curious, a lot of people work for a company and that's where their journey ends.
Mhm.
You've moved up along the ladder. What is one thing that made you successful in your journey, Alan?
Well, I can also tell you this, that Well, I started my own company. COVID really um, did a hit to a lot of small to medium sized businesses. While I work for my own company and have people reporting to me, I also do work for Dow Jones as a senior director of engineering. And within that role, I think what I've found is, as over the years I've hired people and spoken to people and spoken to CEOs and things of that nature, I think what's important for everyone to know is that you really need to be a critical thinker about what you're doing, how you're positioning yourself, the work that you're doing. Coding in a corner and putting your headphones on, those days are basically gone. Um, we live in a very data heavy environment right now. Everything is about data. Um, if you don't believe me, turn on social media, and whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, or anything else, you'll see TikTok. Why? Because TikTok is infiltrating all the other social media platforms, because all they really get is a basic profile, and you start looking at things. But from that alone, their algorithms can actually tell you specific psychographics and demographics about who you are. That being said, in looking at any position, any company, know something about the company. Be a critical thinker. See where there are problems that you can say, well, I was looking at your website, I was looking at your products, your business, your service, whatever. And I don't know if you're working on this, but this is my opinion from a cursory view. You're giving the person an indication that you're thinking about the position, the company, what it does, etc. But you've done your homework. But I think what's even more important is being tenacious. There are tools like LinkedIn, Indeed, Angel List. There's so many places that you could go. There are new um, services, ADA, and all these different types of things. Those are great, but networking and presenting yourself in a way that means that you're thinking about what you're saying, what you're doing, and presenting yourself as uh, inquisitive means a lot to companies.
That's very true. I think two things from what you said, takeaways. I think a lot of people, because when pandemic, a lot of people going remote, I think a lot of people got comfortable sitting behind the screen. And during that time, a lot of people stopped working on their soft skills. So a lot of people stopped forgetting how to present themselves, whether they were speaking with people, whether it was their body language. So I think when they're actually going and meeting people, they're just like, oh, okay, how do I
Mhm.
say that? How do I make my communication much more
Mhm.
effective? So it's definitely, I think it's an era where people definitely need to work on their soft skills, because yes, hard skills are required for you to do the job, but soft skills is something that's so important for you to make yourself stand out as an individual amongst other people that might be working with you in the same company. So thank you for
Right.
sharing that. The next point, Alan, that you touched on was that you've hired for a lot of roles. Would love to for you to mention what is something that you look in candidates when they're applying for jobs, specifically in the tech industry.
Well, you spoke about soft skills. One thing that's important is, the environment for jobs and our current era in our time frame is changing. So it's important to have emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is just in in essence, it's being cognizant of other people's feelings and how you're coming across and what may be sensitive to them. I think when I look for resumes, one, as most people do, I look at structure of resumes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. How is it structured? Does it look like someone professional? You know, I- I'm personally a person that doesn't like all the bells and whistles. Some people have a picture and they're trying to, you know, to me, I, I really don't care what you look like, because from my perspective, diversity is a must. So I'm a stickler on pronouncing names correctly. So when I see an interesting name, I'm like, oh, okay, how do I pronounce this name? And, what can they bring? So I not only, a lot of people look at time frames that people have been at companies, I look at the work that people have done. So I prefer a resume that's book that's paragraph and bullet format. Because I may not know what your company does, the paragraph gives a quick synopsis of what your company does. Williams Joseph is a business consultancy that focuses on operations and technology. One sentence, really quick. Oh, okay. That frames my mind frame. Then it could be general duties within that paragraph. And the paragraph could be four sentences. As a software engineer, I develop apps on the Android and iOS platform that, had this functionality, full stack development, whatever. But the bullets are really for the extraordinary things that you've done. And, there should be, at every job that you've had, there should be something that you added to the bottom line. Now, I went to Columbia. I also went to a school called the University of Detroit Mercy. So for me, it's a dichotomy. Not many people know about the University of Detroit Mercy. Columbia is Ivy League. So for me, education is just that. If you have some sort of education, to me, it doesn't matter certificates, type of school, etc. But what did you learn? What did you come away from? Because if you've paid money, you should have learned something. And then what are the skills that you list and things of that nature? To me, large companies versus small companies don't make a difference. It's really about who the person is, if they're going to fit into the culture, what are they bringing? Are they a critical thinker? Everyone needs a job, and everyone has the ability to think about stuff and say, how can I make this better? Whether it's accounting, finance, marketing, etc. Just bring your best because um, there's a term called purple squirrel, which is, an exact fit to a job description, etc. I think those are pie in the sky things that people are fooling themselves about. So I think rational people don't look for purple squirrels. They look for who can, and this is almost like a Google mentality, who can come into the organization, add value, and then let me see where I can place them. Because the adding value is what companies really need.
Okay, wow. I've heard of the unicorn that people, recruiters, companies usually look for the unicorn. So purple squirrel is definitely something that's new in my dictionary. So thank you for sharing that. Alan, thank you so much for pointing everything out. I think it's really useful for people to understand that human intelligence, diversity, and inclusion is something that brings out the best in people. Yeah, differences can coexist in a way which brings out the best in people, especially when it causes learning and it enhances the learning experience itself. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Alan. It was an absolute pleasure having you as a guest and learning so much about
Thank you
you
very
and your
much. I
wonderful
appreciate
journey.
your time.